What up, everybody? Blaze One Sports, and let's go. Cowboys win again. Cowboys beat the lonely Texans 27-23. The Texans fall to 1-11-1. Worst team in the NFL. They're going to be getting the number one pick in the draft. Cowboys go to 10-3. Surprisingly, even with the Cowboys record, they're still vying to get a playoff spot. They're looking at a wild card spot. Tampa Bay's garbage, but Tampa Bay only has like 5 or 6 wins, but they're higher ranked than the Cowboys because of the division. So it's crazy. They need to change that. But once again, Cowboys beat the Texans 27-23. They get away in a close one. Let's look at this game. Was an exciting game. Turpin, he had that return. Well, first off, in the first quarter, Turpin muffed the punt, and the Texans got it back. If you guys seen that, that was kind of crazy. And then later on in the game, when Diggs got the interception, and then he was running back and forth, running around, that was kind of cool. Overall, the Cowboys looked good. Once again, Zeke just looked average. Zeke had a couple good runs, and he did have a short touchdown run to win the game for the Cowboys. But overall, he's not getting a lot of yards per carry. Anyways, Cowboys 27, Texans 23. Cowboys go to 10-3. Texans fall to 1-11. Looking good for the Cowboys this year. The Cowboys are looking strong. Their defense is looking really good. Their defensive coordinator said he's not going anywhere. He doesn't want to be a head coach, so that's good. Cowboys defense is on point. Their offense is getting on point. Dak's still coming back to the game off his injury. Dak looks good, but once again, Dak throws 2 interceptions, and that's what's scary as a Cowboys fan because in the fourth quarter, the Cowboys were in the end zone, trying to come out of their own end zone, and Dak throws an interception and gives the Texans the ball like within the 20, and the Texans were already up. So if the Cowboys didn't stop the Texans, the Texans very easily could have won the game because of that interception. So that's scary, when we go into the playoffs or whatever late in the game. Is Dak going to throw a game losing interception? So Dak, since he's been back, he's been throwing interceptions. I think he's averaging like 2 interceptions a game. So that is not good. He's got to get that fixed. Cowboys would have won by more without those interceptions. But it is what it is. Other than that, Dak's looking good, but he's got to stop those interceptions. That's killing us. Especially he was in his own end zone and he threw an interception that could have easily cost us the game. If the Texans weren't the worst team in the NFL, 1-10, that probably would have cost us the game. But because of the Texans, we were able to win. Pierce ran all over our defense. Like, he didn't get a ton of yards, but when he had the ball, he's a bruiser. He was running over Cowboys left and right. Driscoll, for the Texans, I mean, Driscoll and Mills, Driscoll had a couple plays. Driscoll looks pretty decent. He's got legs, and Mills has legs too. They're both pretty athletic, and I think Driscoll came over from San Francisco, but unless that's an old Driscoll I'm thinking about. But Mills and Driscoll, Mills was the main quarterback. He was 16 of 21, 175 yards, 1 interception. Driscoll, 4 of 6, 38 yards, and 1 touchdown. Like I said, Driscoll looked pretty decent, running the ball out of the backfield. And Mills looked pretty athletic too this game. They just couldn't get the job done. That's why they're 1-11. Pierce, 22 carries for 78 yards and a touchdown. He averaged 3.5 yards per carry. That's not a lot, but Pierce did have a couple good runs where he was running us over, running the Cowboys over. And overall, Pierce looked decent. Could get a little bit more yards, maybe break 100 with 22 carries, but that's all right. Driscoll, 7 carries for 36 yards. And Mills had 1 carry for 2 yards. Burkhead, 2 carries for -3 yards, the former Patriot. Moore for receiving, 10 receptions, 124 yards. He did good late in the game. He had that big reception. Rodgers, 4 receptions, 57 yards, and a touchdown. And Dorsett had 2 receptions for 18 yards. Burkhead, 1 reception for 5 yards. On the defensive side, Pitre, 9 tackles. Kirksey, he had 5 tackles. Collins had 4 tackles. King had 3 tackles. Smith, he had the 2 interceptions off Dak. And Other than that, that's about it for the defense. Okoronkwo had one sack, and that was it for the defense. So overall, Texans, they don't look like a 1-11 team. They looked all right. They didn't look that bad. Their quarterback play was decent, but they're going up against the number one defense, and they're the Texans. They're 1-11, so it is what it is. Overall, it was a decent game. It was an exciting game. Texans didn't really look that bad. Like I said, Pierce, he looked good on the floor running it. Mills and Driscoll, they are, especially Driscoll, but Mills didn't have too many yards, but he looked decent. He looked like an athletic quarterback coming out of the backfield. Maybe if they had a better receiver, fill the holes, whatever. Dak Prescott, 24 completions off 39 attempts, 284 yards, one touchdown, two interceptions. Like I said, Dak's got to stop the interceptions. Ezekiel Elliott, 15 carries for 62 yards. He averaged 4.1 yards per carry and one touchdown. Decent numbers, but Zeke needs to be breaking the 100-yard mark per game. He's the feature back. He's Zeke. He needs to be breaking the 100-yard mark. That would help us out a lot. Pollard, 10 carries for 42 yards. He averaged 4.2 yards, and he had a touchdown. Prescott had 6 carries out of the backfield for 23 yards. Schultz stepped it up. He played really good this game. 6 receptions for 87 yards. He had a couple of key catches in the red zone. Noah Brown, he had a couple key catches also. 4 receptions for 85 yards. Michael Gallup, he had a big game last game. This game was pretty decent. He had 2 receptions for 40 yards. CeeDee Lamb, he needs to get more involved. He's the number one receiver. He's the most athletic receiver. He's young. He's fast. CeeDee Lamb, 5 receptions for 33 yards. He needs to get more involved. But like I said, Schultz and Brown were doing good, but you got to work the ball to CeeDee Lamb also. Pollard, 4 receptions out of the backfield for 20 yards and a touchdown. Zeke, 3 receptions out of the backfield for 20 yards. Dallas, number 1 defense in the NFL, number 1 in sacks. Leighton Vander Esch, he had 9 tackles. Diggs had 5 tackles. Joseph, he had 4 tackles. Bland had 3 tackles. Tank, he had 3 tackles, 2 assists, and he had that one big tackle in the fourth quarter to stop the Texans' drive. Other than that, Dallas defense looked good. Mukamu, it's hard to pronounce his name. He had an interception for the Cowboys. Cowboys defense looking strong. Tank's looking better as the season progresses. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section. How did your guys' team do this week 14 in the NFL? Turpin, he had the return. He muffed the punt in the beginning. Other than that, there's not much to say. Maher was 2 for 2 in field goals. So Cowboys beat the Texans 27-23. The Cowboys go to 10-3, and the Texans fall to 1-11-1. Cowboys vying for that wild card spot. They should be moving up in the ranks. Let me know what you guys think. How did your guys' team do week 14 in the NFL? Cowboys over the Texans 27-23. Cowboys offense looked good. Cowboys defense still looked good. Cowboys did have a couple injuries that hurt. Terrence Steele went out. They brought Peterson in. He did really good blocking. They had a couple other injuries, but other than that, those 2 interceptions that Dak threw hurt us real bad. We could have lost the game. If we were playing against a better team, we would have lost the game because of those, especially that last interception out of the end zone. Dak's got to fix it. He's got to get more comfortable. I don't know. Maybe as the games go along, he'll fix that. But Dak's been throwing way too many interceptions this year, and it's kind of scary going into the playoffs. So let me know what you guys think. How did your team do? Thoughts, comments, questions, opinions in the comment section. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Cowboys beat the Texans 27-23. Let's go, baby. How about them Cowboys? Woo!